kind of looking at the depth of this roster, you're going to be having Staplers of the Year, McDonald's All-Americans coming off the bench. Can you kind of speak on the depth?
Yeah, our depth is the largest that we've seen in my career thus far, and that's something that we're super excited for. I mean, we have 7 returners and 8 newcomers, and that's a lot of experience that's being kind of put together because we got some transfers that come from some notable programs. And so that's just really exciting for our group because we have a lot of potential and the sky's the limit this year.
Yeah, last year Polino was the only new face on the roster, if I believe correctly. And this year you have 8 new faces. What's different, I guess, obviously, with regards to that?
Yeah, so one of the big differences is you're teaching 8 people kind of the way of Carolina basketball and how we want to operate versus just teaching 1. And so that presents new challenges in itself. And so that's something that we've really leaned into. We do a lot of team bonding activities. We have a lot of just player-led conversations about what we want our culture to be, how we want to treat one another, and what our important values are that are going to carry us throughout the season. Because as we know, there's going to be ups and downs throughout the season, and making sure we're kind of level-headed and not get too high, not get too low, because we know the duration of the season is quite long, and that we want to stay locked in for as long as possible.
Now, I know you juggle balls. I hear you were juggling pins on ACC Network earlier.
Yeah, I was.
How'd that go?
It was good. I needed a little bit of a warm up, so I dropped the first one, but then picked it back up and was juggling it for a little bit.
So being the versatile athlete, I have to ask, your pickleball game, was it among the best on the team?
Yeah, I made it to the championship alongside Sydney Barker, one of my teammates, and we played Courtney Banghart, our head coach, and unfortunately we lost, but it was a really competitive game. Coach has got some skills that we didn't know that she had in her bag, but it was a great experience, and that was one of our favorite team bonding experiences.
Well, looking back, when you weren't ranked in the top 100 by ESPN, was that a motivational element for you to show these experts, quote unquote, that they were wrong?
Yeah, it was definitely a big motivational piece for me because I felt like I was someone that put in so much time and effort and just committed a lot to the basketball game. And I was asking questions like why, and like why am I not ranked higher, and instead of asking those questions and speculating, I just dove into working harder. And so that's just one of the many things that I have written on a piece of paper about like chips on my shoulder, and so that's something I've been carrying with me.
What do you have written on a piece of paper?
So I have a piece of paper, and like anytime like I get a comment from another coach in the ACC that's like negative and kind of fuels the fire, I create a list of those things. And I had it on a whiteboard for a while in my room, but now it's like kind of went onto a piece of paper, and then now it's in my notes on my phone. And so I just kind of have an ongoing list of things that if I need a little something to spark some fuel, then I just take a look at those, and those inspire me just to do better and to prove people wrong.
Sounds like Michael Jordan. He always listened to slights to motivate him.
Yeah, it's definitely very similar, and I think obviously I'm playing for my teammates and I'm playing for myself and my community, but there is also that competitive aspect in me that kind of feeds off of that motivation as well.
How's your game evolved since you got to Chapel Hill? What are you doing now that you didn't approach doing as a freshman?
I feel like I'm trusting my work that I've put in. Like I've worked really hard on my three-point shot, mid-range, changing directions, attacking from the perimeter. And my freshman year I was just very timid, and I was doing things I was comfortable with, like going 100% speed all the time and just 100% effort, which those are things that are still consistent with my game now. But just kind of developing more of the basketball IQ and learning how to play together with my teammates is something that's really important, not only for my personal success, but for the success of our team and our program.
So maybe more at the 3 spot this year, did I hear you say?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We'll have to see what lineups are looking like in terms of what our matchups are going to be, and we'll kind of play it that way. But I'm ready to play the 3, 4, really any position that the game calls for.
I know you can't talk about the scrimmage, but who started?
No, that's one question I can't answer. But the scrimmage looked really well. We had a great group. We were testing a bunch of different lineups throughout the game, so it really wasn't about like who started. It was about what groups could click well together, and we were kind of figuring out our chemistry and stuff. And so that was really more important to us than who started.
And obviously, you could play a 5th year if you wanted to. Have you thought about that? How likely do you think it is, or just something that you'll think about later?
It's something that's really on the back burner for me, just because of how much opportunity we have this season. I want to give my full my full attention to it and just be really intentional with the time that I have now and not really stress about something that doesn't need to be solved yet.
I mean, would NIL be a factor to coming back because,
Yeah.
financial aspects?
Yeah, it definitely would be a factor. For me, it would be more for just like the business opportunities in terms of developing myself as a businesswoman in my future career. So not about the money, just about the skills that I can learn through the NIL space.
With regards to fifth-year seniors and just like the transfer portal in general, I want to get your opinion on something. Do you feel like in this era, it's harder for true freshmen to come in and make an immediate impact?
That's a really good question. Not necessarily. I think incoming freshmen have a good opportunity to make an impact in whatever way that they can on their team. And the COVID year seniors, this last wave of COVID kids, are going to be leaving shortly. So I think if it has made an impact, it will return to normal very shortly.
Alyssa, being a team captain for the upcoming season, how do you ingrain just positivity and motivation for the females that you surround yourself with the team?
Yeah, being a team captain is something that I don't wear lightly. Like, it's really important to me that girls on my team 1 through 15 are seen, they're valued, and their opinions are heard, because I've noticed in my experience that you get the best results out of your teammates individually and your team as a collective whole when people feel seen and they feel like their presence is important. And that's something that I've always wanted to feel. So as a captain, I'm ensuring that in my teammates as well. And spreading positivity is something that goes a long way, especially when you're in a sport where something could have always been done a little bit better, or you just or you fall short. And so you need somebody that's continually positive throughout that whole process. And that's something that I've committed to this year.
You and Deja, there's a lot of seniors on this team who've been through it all, sort of building the program with Coach. What are your goals this year, and do you feel like, hey, Deja was kind of saying, like, time's running out, we got to get this stuff done?
Yeah. I mean, our goal this year is just to be better than we were last year. Like, finish higher in the ACC, go further in the NCAA tournament, go further in the ACC tournament. And so to figure out how to come up with a solution to that, we kind of analyzed some things that we wanted to change from years prior. And one of those things is establishing a team culture that's respected and held accountable by each of the members that are in it. And I think that alone has already driven our competitiveness up in our practices, because not only do we respect each other, because if we respect each other as athletes, then we're going to compete really hard. And so that's been something that's helped our game and helped the chemistry start to bond this early.
Does it feel like you've been here a while and there are still some goals you want to take on?
Yeah, for sure. I think an ACC championship is one of our first goals, and then we're just moving on up from there.
A lot of people think you can do that. Does that put pressure on you guys, or do you like the challenge of people knowing that this is a good team?
We definitely love the challenge. It's really exciting to be in this to have this opportunity and to be in this position to do something really special. And not everybody has this opportunity, and so we're really just diving into it, giving it our all. We've had 50 plus practices already, and so we're just ready for the public to see what we've been working on.
What's the story on the Final Four team loading sign next to the dressing room door? How did that come about? Who instigated it or whatever?
Yeah, so Deja and I called a team meeting, and this team meeting was centered around culture. And so, similar to my point about making sure girls 1 through 15 are heard, we went around and each girl shared a word and attached an experience to it of how that culture, how they wanted to see that integrated in our culture. And so we have a lot of people that come in and out of our team room, like managers who are setting up for practice, coaches if they need to grab something. And so we didn't want to be interrupted at this time. And so I got a marker and we ripped off a piece of cardboard and we wrote, "Do not enter Final Four team loading." And so we put that outside of our door just to give us the privacy that we needed so we could have these hard conversations. And with a collaborative effort, we came up with a team culture that we've currently been just fully invested into. We've been holding each other accountable, and we've already seen great results from it.
So that was just to keep people out of the meeting, but you kept the sign up there afterward.
Yes. Yeah, so the sign, we felt that the sign should stay up there because it's an ongoing process. Like, this team is constantly loading right now. We're putting in the reps, we're putting in the time, and eventually everyone will be able to see what we've been working on.
Is that first day of practice or?
No, it wasn't first day of practice. It was It was about the first week though. So.
First week.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned in the press conference that you've played all 5 positions. Is that in college?
No, I mean I played the one maybe like a couple possessions in college, and that's when we were going really big lineups, and so that was a lot of fun. So I have played all 1 through 5 positions, and I've guarded up 1 through 5.
With 52, coach says 52 practices. Yeah, just tired of it. I mean, is it time to get out there and see, where you guys are in the progress?
I think you see a lot of women kind of do it themselves, or just kind of have maybe just family working around them, which is great because that's even more of a reason why women are so damn special, because we can do it ourselves and we feel like we can. But me personally, I'm with an agency, which has been great. I think it just depends on what you're looking for to get out of the NIL process and kind of how you want to approach it. So I think it all just depends on that. But I think agency, no agency has worked out for a lot of people.
And I got one more. If you could change anything, because everyone's talking about how they want to change this, politicians, coaches, if you could change something from a player's perspective, what would it be?
I think allowing universities to probably get a little more involved, or being allowed to get more involved in NIL. I know it's that thing where it's like money you have to pay, the branding and things like that, logos, but I think people want to see kind of that combination of the NIL with your university. That's the whole point. So I think I would like to see that kind of rule change in a way and allowing kind of more fluidity there.
Do you think that makes it like safer, cleaner if the universities are able to help?
I think it makes it cleaner, and I think it also allows more partnerships as well, because I think a lot of people know that whatever university institution you're at, I think that brings a lot of money itself, and I think being able to promote that as well through NIL is pretty big too.
Thank you very much.
Does it feel like you're kind of running a small business? Sorry. Does it kind of feel like you're running a small business with so many things going on here and there?
Yeah, I think I am. I call myself a businesswoman for sure, because I know that there's a lot of things I have produced and things like that. Just with me starting two of my own shows, my own podcasts. I think just in that way, that's been something that I'm really proud of, and just being able to start that myself and being like my kind of how I want it, how I'm running it, the questions I want to ask, kind of the things that I want to get out there and talk about. I think it's huge. But yeah, just being able to be a businesswoman and really locking into the business side, as well as also keeping basketball in school as my top priority, because I know that's what brings the money in as well. I would definitely say that for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something about scoring. You've been a capable scorer your whole career. I think this year 12 of the top 15 scorers were back in the ACC, 8 of the top 10 on the first team. What did the experience of being in this league before maybe how's that helped you as becoming a more effective scorer as one of those returnees for both of those lists?
Yeah, I think being able to play against some of the best players in the country and also in the league, I think that definitely helps. It helps you see the game a little differently. Watching film, seeing how they score, seeing what their go-tos are and how effective they are, especially people that came up like a Dana Evans or I can't remember who was before me. There was a lot of good players, but yeah, Dana Evans, her being back-to-back player of the year, I think that was a good one to kind of watch because of how effective she was and how much she impacted her team with her scoring. I think that's something that I know that I do well, and just trying to. I know that I'm a playmaker though. I think when I first got here, I was so locked into just the scoring role that I wasn't as effective. But me now knowing that I'm a playmaker and I'm a playmaking guard, a combo guard, and I can just make things happen, I think that's definitely allowed me to be more effective.
Is that one of those things that just comes with experience, that you can rely on your shooting talent, let's say, when you get there, but the more experience you get, you know better when to be the scorer, when to be a playmaker?
Yeah, I think it definitely comes. It's the experience and definitely the maturity as well. I think just knowing, like I said, when to make the right plays, when to shoot it, when to like I said, play make. I think the experience has definitely helped with that for sure.
Is there a feeling that this is the year for you guys? You a senior, Alyssa, Courtney's been here for a few years. Do you guys get that sense?
Absolutely. I think there's a different type of mentality, a different feeling going into this year, especially with all the new pieces that we've had. There's a different hunger to us, and I think because we know there's a lot more on the list of goals that we haven't reached yet. So I know that is. We know that we're good, but the sky's the limit for how great we can be. And again, especially with the new additions, I think they can definitely help us reach those limits and just keep continuing to build to reach those goals.
Would you consider coming back for another year? I mean, you talk about Caitlin Clark, how much money she's able to make with NIL, and you're really prominent. Is that something on the table to do, like for WNBA versus coming back?
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of options to weigh out. I know definitely NIL does have a big impact on probably everyone who has this fifth year that they're thinking about taking. But yeah, it's definitely into consideration. I'm just trying to weigh out all my options and just see what the best route will be.
Focusing on basketball, you mentioned keeping the main thing. Seeing that you are also a broadcast journalism major, how do you just balance between the three, journalism, basketball, and also just school in general?
Yeah, I think I have to be really strategic about how I balance it, because I know, like I said, that basketball and the school, that's what brings me business as well, and vice versa. So I think that just really knowing that whatever I'm doing, whether it's basketball, business, journalism, anything like that, I have to give that my all and know that that's going to set me up for a really good career in the long run. And I'm thinking about 40 years from now rather than just the 4 that I'm in college. And obviously knowing that I am way more than just a basketball player, and I'm multifaceted, and there's a lot of layers to me. So really trying to explore all of those options rather than just knowing that I'm here for basketball and just general school. I know that it really exploring. UNC has the #1 journalism school in the country, so really exploring that.
If you've ever gotten the chance to interview anybody in the NBA or WNBA, who would it be and why?
I would want to interview LeBron. He has never really always been like my favorite NBA player, but I know, either him, I know that he has dealt with a lot with being, talked about the greatest player, and just I know that could be a lot. So I would just want to hear kind of how he handles maybe all of those, all the backlash he gets for being how great he is and things like that. So,
Can you take me back to the Ohio State game? Obviously, you get carried off the court, come back 4.5 minutes later, and then can you take me about the emotions of that, and maybe how much you and the rest of the team use that as motivation in the off season?
Yeah, I think that was a pivotal moment, obviously, in the game, going down and knowing that I could have been done, and just being taken back. One of our administrative people came back and told me the score and told me we were down by 1, and I was like, okay, I was like, Doc, check me, just clear me, it's 2 minutes left, I need to go out there and finish this game, whether we win or lose. I just need to know, and for my own sanity, that I was able to finish and give it my all and at least help pull us to a win. So, that was a tough moment, especially after we ended up losing, but for me, I feel good to say that I was able to at least try to get back out there, and we'll get recovery later.
And obviously you didn't go the initial AmeriCup tryout, so could you have played a few days later?
As what?
Obviously you didn't go to the AmeriCup initial tryouts.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm asking, had you guys won, would you have been able to play a few days later?
Yeah, I think I really wouldn't have had a choice. I know that for me it's just a mentality thing, and I know that the season is on the line, and I think especially in that Ohio State game, I knew that the season was on the line. So, like I said, my thought process would be, wrap me up, band whatever it is, and put me back in, and we'll recover and get treatment later. But I definitely believe that if we would have won, we would have played the next weekend. I would have given my all regardless.
Going back to the transfers, what's the impact that Lexi has had on the team so far?
Lexi has brought just such a competitive nature to this team. She is really competitive and really locks in on the defensive end. That's something that really matters to her, which is great, because that's something that we really emphasize as a team, to get stops and make it really difficult for the other team to get what they want. So to add, with the addition of her, to have that same mentality, that like-minded mentality, I think has been a great piece for us to have. And of course, her three-point shooting ability, I think, is speaks for itself. And again, because that was basically how our scout was when we played her for that. So I think just her being able to bring that that determination, that, like I said, that competitiveness to our team has been really special for us.
And is there a moment in practice that's kind of stood out to you, like where you've watched her and you've been like, wow? Or
I think I was on her team. We were on the same team for one practice that I can remember, and we had to get like 3 stops in a row before we could get off or get a water break or something like that. And I remember we kept giving up a basket or something like that, and she like pulled us in, like kind of huddle like, and was like, we have to lock in and get this stop. We have don't worry about if you're tired, don't worry about the wrong thing, just lock in on getting the stop, whatever it takes. And that was something that I was like, wow, like for her to be a newcomer, for her to, she's still learning herself, just kind of about this program and things like that. But for her to, step out of that and just really just compete regardless of what was going on around her, and kind of spread that throughout the team as well, I think was huge.
And how important is your presence, would you say, for just floor spacing in terms of like the team?
It's huge. I think for her to be able to knock down the three consistently is going to be huge for us, and again, it'll allow us to play with more space, because obviously, 3-point shooting, I think we definitely struggled with that last year, and everyone felt so compacted and it felt hard to drive, just things like that. So I think 3-point shooting is definitely something that's important for all teams, and to have the addition of her consistently, I think is really great.
You got so many lead guards this year. How is that going to change the dynamic with so many even wings can take the ball up court? Will it make it easier to push the tempo?
Yeah, I think that it's amazing for our team. I think for a team that can have anybody that can push up the floor, that allows us to play fast like we like to. And obviously it starts with the defensive end, but I think, like I said, to be able to have anybody push up the floor, and we can just get out and run and not worry about, this specific person has to pick up the ball. Push up the ball, like things like that. I think that's a great dynamic to have and great versatility to have on a team. And all of our guards can do it. Our wings can do it. Alyssa can push the ball up, and I think to be able to have that versatility, I think is really special, and it just allows us to play more freely and fast like we want to.
Coach was talking about depth on this group, and you may have already addressed this. We got in secondary, but with so much depth, I mean, you're going to have maybe a reduction in minutes because everybody gets a chance. I mean, there's only 200 minutes out there, one ball. So, I mean, how do you guys as a group kind of mesh together and welcome, I guess, that luxury? I know Coach is loving it, but how do you as players view that?
Yeah, no, I think the depth is great. I don't think we've had much of that, especially last year. We were down a lot of players, but I think just being able to have that depth, knowing that there probably won't be a drop-off. I think that's the biggest thing. Whenever subs come in, like, we know what we're getting, because everyone's so damn good in their role, and I think just being able to, like I said, just have those impacts from everybody, I think is really, really nice to have, finally. And so I just love our pieces that we brought in, our new additions. But yeah, the depth is super important, and I'm really glad that we have it. For
Just
sure.
talking some with Georgia Amor earlier about your experience at Kelsey Plum's camp.
Yeah.
Any specific moments that stand out? Any memories from that?
I just remember we had a good time. We had a great time just bonding, and just learning from different guards who maybe I haven't met before or really spoken to. I know, like, even like someone like Haley, who I've never really met as a person, but I've always played against her, and it's just completely different personalities from what you know on the course. I think that was fun, but just being able to learn from Kelsey, just kind of, her biggest thing was trying to merge the transition from college to the pros, and just trying to give us as many tools as she can, and I think that was something that was really great. And I think one thing that stood out was she had like a mindset coach or like a mental coach with her that came and spoke to us as well, so just being able to hear from him and kind of how he deals with Kelsey and how he helps prepare her, I think that was something that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I know Georgia mentioned there's, I think, this one specific moment where you guys were maybe learning the step back move, and you said to her, like, oh, you better not, like, pick that up for when we play each other.
Yeah, it was, Kelsey was teaching us a lot of different footwork, and Georgia was really good at it when she taught us, and I was like, listen, you better not pull that out when we play, because I have no time to guard that. But yeah, because Georgia's so quick and she got the footwork down. But yeah, for sure.
When and where was that?
This was back in April, and this was in...
It's like the dog.
It was the Kelsey Plum Dog Classic or Dog Camp. I was in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of kind of home games, last year attendance was really high at Carmichael. And, this year looking ahead, you have some big ticket matchups at home. What does the presence of so many fans do for you guys as a team?
It makes us go. I think, especially seeing how the fan base has grown just since my first year here to now, I think is almost surreal because we knew that that's what we wanted to build it into, but to actually see it happening when we're playing at home, I think it's great, and it makes Carmichael a harder place to play at. So I think that just for us, it really inspires us, it pushes us, it gets us excited because we know that we're playing for them, and we're playing. They came. You never know if it's their first time watching us play. We don't know, but just the excitement, just the excitement from all the fans about them watching us play, I think is really fun to hear, and meeting them and just seeing different things like that. I love how our fan base has grown.
Would you consider coming back for a 5th season? And if so, what would you weigh, and when would you make that decision?
Yeah, I definitely am weighing my options. I'm definitely considering all of the options. And when I will make that decision, I have no clue. Whenever a deadline is, I don't know. But like I said just now, I'm not really trying to think too far ahead. But knowing that I do have options and just trying to make the best decision.
And I know you can't talk about it, but excited about going to Texas this weekend?
We are taking a flight to Texas. I think that's all I can say, probably, but yeah, that's all I can say.
And then you can't talk about last weekend, but who started?
No, she really can't.
No?
And we got to roll anyway. I'm sorry, we're after 12.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Deja, here's your name.
Oh.